Wow. And I think going back originally when your journey started with Squirrel Nut Zippers when we first met
Right.
back in the 90s, and then, of course, Ani DeFranco signing you to Righteous Babe and all the different things you've done over the years. Here we are with this great new album. And one of the questions I had for you was I had read that you had said that being married now and your relationship and married has kind of changed some of the way that you do composition, the way you write. Would you say that's true?
I would say that's true, yeah, to some degree.
Yeah. What is different about it when it comes down to the process of your songwriting?
Uh, well, I think, yeah, having a family is a different environment. There's not time to get lost in your own uh, internal machinations. I mean, songwriting is such an internal process, and I think it's just, you get impatient with your younger self
Yeah.
and how much time you used to have to kind of go off on tangents. So I think it's brought about like a more of a desire to communicate and in a more direct language sort of way.
I see. And would you say sometimes people talk about that famous Spielberg line where he says, I don't finish a movie. I release it, meaning that sometimes we spend so much time that we overthink things, or not overthink them, but we can certainly sit there and try to perfect everything. Do you find in that situation with a family now gives you less time for that, so you get right to the point
You
and say,
get
"All
to
right,
the
I'm good with
point,
that."
yeah. I think that's true, and yeah, everything is very real and in your face and in your life, and so it's going to affect how you write for sure.
Absolutely. Now, you've got some great collaborations on this latest record. You worked with Fiona Apple on a track, too. Let's talk about working with Fiona on this. You guys go back as old friends? How did that collaboration
No, I
materialize?
hadn't met her before she came in to do the song, but she was, a good friend of Tony Berg, who produced the record, and Flanagan, who runs Largo, and
Yeah.
we both go to play Largo a lot, and so I'm surprised we hadn't crossed paths before, but she was the first name that came up when we thought of who they, in Hollywood, they call it casting, even on records. It's like, who we're going to get to do this song? We're doing casting. But yeah, we needed someone with some real heaviness, like gravity to their singing, and she was perfect.
That's great. And what about working with Blake Mills as well on this?
He's a force. Yeah, he was basically in the band for the making of the record. So it was the four of us going around the room and like really, this whole record was like different than any before it. It was super rigorous. Not that they weren't before, but this one just felt different,
Yeah, the process itself. Yeah. I thought it was really cool that they used "Oh No" in the Showtime show Billions, the one with Paul Giamatti and Damian Lewis.
Yeah.
Did you know it was in there before you saw it on there? Because I know there's a
No,
licensing
I just
thing.
read the description of the scene. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, you definitely should check it out. It's a very good show. I mean, they're
Yeah.
both great actors, obviously.
Yeah.
The whole cast is really, really quite amazing there. There's a song I love on the album called "Left-Handed Kisses." Can you tell me a bit about that track?
Well, that's the one with Fiona. That's it started off as a challenge to myself to write a simple love song, which I'm not really. I write some love songs, but not for a pop musician, songwriter. I don't write a whole lot of. It's not a
regular thing.
subject that I feel it's covered. It's pretty well covered.
Yeah, no, I get
And
it. Absolutely.
but I was like, yeah, I'm gonna write a love song, and I'm gonna put baby in the chorus just to make things really hard for myself.
Yeah.
And
I mean, was that the precedent? Literally, you're like, I got to find a place to put "Baby" in that chorus.
Well, I was, because I was even before I started writing the song, I was already self-aware about my tendencies towards writing love songs. So I kind of knew how it was going to go. It was not going to be simple at all. It was going to get extra complicated. So I was writing it from the point of view of a skeptic who doesn't really believe in fate and star-crossed lovers, but has somehow convinced themselves and trying to convince their lover that well, how did I find you amongst the multitudes then? if I don't believe in fate. And Fiona's part came in much later in the songwriting process. It was my voice of giving myself a hard time became her voice.
Right.
So that line about she's just not buying it. So it's like, no offense to left-handed people, but it was like Left-Handed Kisses was like kind of a half-assed attempt at an overture and a backhanded love song, and so she's just calling me out on
those things, and those thoughts, and skepticism, right? Well, you do a couple of more songs for us right now?
Yeah, now it feels like we should do that song.
Yeah, I really love to hear you do it. That's a great track.
We weren't planning on it, but let's do it.
I love to hear you do it. Left-Handed Kisses. Everybody make noise once again for Andrew Bird and his band.